Joining us now is Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton of Washington, D.C. Congresswoman, thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate your time tonight.
Of course, Rachel.
You asked to be allowed to testify at this hearing on a bill that specifically targets your district, and you were refused. Is there precedent for allowing a member from an opposing party to speak on legislation that affects his or her district?
Abundant precedent. Rachel, when there is a bill affecting the country, but you want to speak on the bill, perhaps you were a co-sponsor, maybe one of 10 co-sponsors, you get to speak on the bill before any of the really relevant witnesses do. Here you have a bill that affects only my district, no other district in the United States, which singles out the residents of the District of Columbia and says, you women will not be subject to the constitutional mandate of Roe versus Wade. You alone can have an abortion only until 20 weeks. By the way, don't talk to us about how this is a violation of the 14th Amendment as well, which treats you differently from women in other states. Not only are we going to try to impose that on you, but we don't want to hear from the only voice you have in the House. You have no voice in the Senate. We shut her up so we don't hear from D.C. residents at all. Fortunately, we do have a young woman who has gone through this experience, who has a very relevant story to show, but nobody who can speak for who has been elected by the residents of the District of Columbia. An all-male panel will hear why the women of the District of Columbia should have their Roe versus Wade rights differentiated from those of every other woman in the United States.
Congressman Franks has prioritized the issue of abortion legislation in his career. In this case, he's specifically going after D.C., but he's pushed anti-abortion legislation every time he has the opportunity. Why do you think something targeting your districts, targeting Washington, D.C., is important to Republicans this year, important to somebody who has this as a national agenda?
Rachel, we pointed out to him that his own district allowed abortions after 20 weeks, and so he quickly got somebody to introduce a bill there. I don't know if it's passed yet. But there's one and only one reason why he targets the District of Columbia. It's such a principled matter, Rachel. Why wouldn't he want this principle to apply to every district in the United States? This is a straight-out cowardly case of bullying. Because the Congress has somewhat more jurisdiction over the district than others, because he doesn't have the nerve to try to paste this on the United States of America, he's trying to make his ideological point by going like a big bully at the only residents who don't have a voting member. Yes, I vote in committee, but no voting member on the final vote, and has no senators to protect the district. That's why he's doing it, a straight-out gang up on the most disempowered district in the United States of America. But let me tell you something about us. We know how to fight back.
Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton, Democrat of Washington, D.C. I have absolutely no doubt about that last point you just made. Ma'am, thank you very much for talking with us tonight. Good luck tomorrow when I know this hearing is going to be convened. Good luck.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you. All right. Still